We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at yoursarthi@such.org.in.
As Paris Olympics 2024 is currently underway, we look at some must-watch movies based on the event.
What are you doing watching this video? Why aren't you at my show?
Meet Indian comedian and actor Sumukhi Suresh and learn some lesser-known facts about birthday boy Chris Hemsworth. All this and much more with me, Isha Hanspal, at these times, only on WION E-Club.
The quest for an Olympic medal has begun. History is being made at the Paris Olympics,
Manu Bhaker has created history here in Chatroom.
and the history makers are speaking exclusively to WION.
I'm living my dream, and it's not like it's going to end here.
The best in the world have descended upon Paris, defying gravity and setting new benchmarks. And we are there to cover it all.
The Olympic Games are the pinnacle of sport, and they demand sacrifices from both sportspersons and those covering it. I'm Digvijay Singhdeo, and I will be tracking the best in sport from here in Paris.
Can Team India reach a double-digit medal tally?
The Olympics is a sweet bread, but it comes with pressure, for sure.
Watch Gunning for Glory through the Paris Olympics at these times on WION.
Very good morning and welcome. You're watching World DNA with me, Hem Kaur Saro, and here's what we've lined up for you on the show this morning. Let's get started. Plane crash in Brazil, Sao Paulo state kills all 61 people on board. The twin-engine turboprop plane was flying from southern state of Paraná to Sao Paulo city when it came down in the town of Venezuela. Eyewitness video from the site of plane crash in Brazil's Venezuela that killed all 61 on board shows wreckage scattered across the grass and a fire in a residential area. Amid heightened Ukrainian offensive, Russia introduces anti-terrorism measures in Kursk, Belgorod and Bryansk regions bordering Ukraine.
New assessment by US intelligence agencies finds Iran is pursuing research that has put it in better position to launch nuclear weapons program. Washington to provide Israel $3.5 billion to spend on US weapons and military equipment, says State Department. Funds to be released in the coming months. UK's King Charles calls for mutual respect and understanding after racist riots that targeted Muslims and migrants in Britain. Event marks first intervention by the monarch since the unrest began last week. Bangladeshi student leader and new interim government, telecommunications and IT Minister Nahid Islam says Sheikh Hasina must face trial when she returns home for the killings during her term, including recent student protests. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in the Maldives on 3-day trip meets counterpart Musa Zamar to discuss all areas of bilateral cooperation to deepen partnership between New Delhi and Malé. India's Aman Sehrawat wins bronze medal in the men's freestyle 57 kg wrestling event at Paris Olympics, becomes India's youngest medal winner at the Summer Games. A passenger plane carrying 57 passengers and 4 crew crashed in Brazil's Sao Paulo state, killing all on board. The aircraft, an ATR 72-5000 operated by Vopas Airline, took off from Cascavel in the state of Paraná and was en route to Guarulhos in Sao Paulo state when it crashed in the town of Venezuela. It is Brazil's worst plane crash since 2007 when a TAM Express plane came down at Sao Paulo's Congonhas airport, killing 199 people. Eyewitnesses recount the plane crash.
Foi horrível, horrível. A gente ouviu o avião dando várias cambalhotas e foi caindo, assim, foi Deus, foi livramento de Deus mesmo, que mais um pouco tinha caído na minha casa. Eu tô em choque, tô tremendo até agora.
Tinha muita pessoa em casa?
Uma cena muito triste, o avião pegando fogo, estava muito triste, tipo, cheguei na hora, eu só pensei em orar e pedir proteção para essas pessoas, chegar a pedir proteção para essas pessoas, que era o que eu precisava.
Sao Paulo State Governor told reporters at the scene that the recovery of victims' remains for identification has begun and will continue throughout the night. Firefighters, military, police and state civil defense were deployed at the scene. The black box has been found. Meanwhile, Brigadier Marcelo Moreno, who heads Brazil's Aviation Accidents Agency, addressed a press conference. Brigadier Moreno said that the aircraft crew had not communicated an emergency prior to the crash.
Mas o que nós temos até agora é que não houve, por parte da aeronave, comunicação com os órgãos de controle de que haveria uma emergência, né? Preliminarmente, nós temos essa informação que não houve informação da aeronave, que a aeronave estaria com qualquer tipo de emergência que seja. Por isso,
The airline Vopas and ATR, the plane's manufacturer, says they are working to support investigators as Brazil reels from the tragedy. President Lula da Silva declared 3 days of mourning for those killed in the crash. Let's shift our focus now. The threat of Iran and its proxies looms large over Israel. A senior official of the Iranian armed forces said Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei's order to harshly punishing Israel over the assassination of Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh is clear and explicit, and preparations are underway for it to be implemented in the best possible way. The United States is ready to defend Israel. When asked about the statement of Deputy Commander of the Revolutionary Guards. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said, I am quoting here, "When we hear rhetoric like that, we've got to take it seriously, and we do." The statement comes as Washington pledged to provide Israel $3.5 billion to spend on U.S. weapons and military equipment. This despite U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken telling Israeli Defense Minister that the escalation of tensions in the Middle East was in no party's interest. He stressed on the need for a Gaza ceasefire. The United States, along with Egypt and Qatar, have called on Israel and Hamas to meet for negotiation on the 15th of August in Doha or Cairo to finalize a deal. While Israel has said it would attend, there's no confirmation from Hamas. However, an official of the Palestinian group said it was studying the new offer for talks. In a dramatic escalation of the Russia-Ukraine war, Kyiv has continued with its multi-pronged offensive against Russia. Moscow has been forced to scramble its men and machinery to repel the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk. Turning the screws further, Ukraine has also attacked a Russian airbase in the Lipetsk region, while a Russian strike on a supermarket in Ukraine has resulted in the deaths of 14 people. Our next report gets you all the major details and developments.
Russia-Ukraine war is changing gears. Ukraine is now on the front foot and launching audacious attacks on Russian territory. Russia has initiated a federal-level emergency response in the southwestern Kursk region as it continues to battle the invading Ukrainian forces for the fourth day. Russia's military, caught off guard by Ukraine's surprise attack, is now scrambling to reinforce its positions in the Kursk region, sending in more troops and heavy weaponry to repel the Ukrainian forces. Moscow claims that the Ukrainian military has lost as many as 945 troops and 102 armored vehicles, including 12 tanks and 17 personnel carriers. Though Kyiv has not officially confirmed its involvement in the Kursk operation, President Volodymyr Zelensky made it clear that Russia must face the consequences of its aggression. Kursk is not the only worry for Moscow. Ukraine claims to have executed a massive airstrike on a Russian military base in the Lipetsk region, a staggering 280 kilometers from the Russia-Ukraine border. This deep penetration into Russian territory represents a seismic shift in the conflict, exposing the glaring weaknesses in Russia's air defense systems. The Ukrainian attacks appear to be a strategic response to Russia's steady gains in Ukrainian territory, forcing Moscow to divert its resources and attention. Experts believe that the Kursk incursion could be a preemptive strike to deter a potential Russian offensive into the Sumy region. By striking first, Ukraine aims to disrupt Moscow's plans and erode its tactical advantage. However, the operation also carries significant risks as Ukrainian forces are operating far from their supply lines and in hostile territory. Russia, on the other hand, continues to pound Ukraine. Kyiv says that Russian forces launched another deadly attack on a supermarket in the eastern Ukrainian town of Kostiantynivka. As the situation evolves, the world watches with bated breath. The outcome of these audacious Ukrainian actions will have far-reaching implications for the war and could potentially alter the trajectory of the conflict. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Now, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has asked the British police officers to remain on high alert for further unrest as the country braces for possible riots across the weekend. King Charles has also called for mutual respect and understanding, marking the first intervention by the monarch since the unrest began last week. Starmer said that with judges swiftly handing down lengthy jail sentences to some rioters, the criminal justice system in recent days has acted as a deterrent to more violence. Over 6,000 members of the specialist police have been put on standby across England to deal with the potential flashpoint.
But my message to the police and all of those that are charged with responding to disorder is maintain that high alert. I'm absolutely convinced that having the police officers in place these last few days in the right places, the swift justice that's being dispensed in our courts have had a real impact. But we have to stay on high alert going into this weekend because we absolutely have to make sure that our communities are safe.
His comments came after 2 nights of relative quiet across England, after a week of nearly nightly unrest in more than a dozen towns and cities in the wake of a deadly knife attack that killed 3 children. UK police on Thursday released body cam footage showing police officers being pelted with fireworks during violent disorder in Liverpool. Meanwhile, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, raised concerns about his safety as a Muslim politician, calling the recent events triggering. Khan highlighted how his children's generation were feeling scared. In the past 2 days, Britain witnessed an unexpected shift as anti-racism protesters took to the streets in large numbers, overshadowing the anticipated far-right demonstrations. Only a handful of arrests were made, and the rallies in London, Birmingham, Bristol, Liverpool, Newcastle passed off rather peacefully. In total, however, more than 400 arrests have been made in relation to the riots. These riots were sparked by the disinformation that the accused in the fatal stabbing of 3 girls in Southport was a Muslim immigrant. Demonstrators were seen attacking mosques and hotels as housing asylum seekers. Robert Henrik, a candidate to replace Rishi Sunak as the Conservative Party leader, called on the police to arrest anyone who shouted Allahu Akbar. Iran is in a better position to launch a nuclear weapons program. A new assessment by US intelligence has pointed to Iran's nuclear efforts, saying it has produced enough nuclear fuel for a few nuclear weapons. But US intelligence agencies still believe that Iran is currently working to build a nuclear device or considering resuming its nuclear weapons program. According to Washington, the program was largely suspended in 2003, but the UN Atomic Agency said that the West Asian nation continued to work on mastering a nuclear weapon after 2003. Experts say it has continued that work through the past 2 decades, edging closer to full mastery of building a bomb. Since 2003, Iran has massively expanded its uranium enrichment program. It has also advanced missile program and has resumed work on critical components of building a nuclear warhead. Now, a report to the Congress from the Director of National Intelligence has warned that Iran is in a better position to produce a nuclear device if it chooses to do so. This comes at a time of soaring tensions in the region after the recent assassination of Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Remember, Iran has vowed retaliation, and both the United States and Israel are bracing for the same. US President Joe Biden has repeatedly said that the United States will never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon. He has also assured time and again that the United States will back Israel against any Iranian attack. This raises the possibility of Washington's military action against Tehran in response to its efforts to build a nuclear device. Now, a new poll of Americans living in the swing states is testimony why this election is being called a polarizing one. It finds Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump in a statistical dead heat. The swing states are on your screens, and people here are concerned with inflation, immigration, and political extremism or polarization. A new Ipsos poll asked questions around these issues, and it found among registered voters, about 7 in 10 respondents in swing states say they are certain to vote. When asked who, 42% said Kamala Harris, 40% said Donald Trump. Interestingly, independent Robert F. Kennedy Jr. got 5%. The poll also found that Trump outperforms Harris on immigration, war, the economy, and jobs. While Harris has the advantage on healthcare, neither candidate has a clear lead on the issue of political extremism or polarization. All right, Maduro versus Elon Musk reaches a new height as Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro bans social media platform X in the country for 10 days. This temporary ban shows Maduro's opposition to big tech companies, as earlier this week he urged his supporters to abandon Meta-owned WhatsApp. Take a look.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro issued a 10-day ban on social media platform X in the country on Thursday, saying it had been used to incite violence following the country's presidential election. This comes after the country's electoral authority proclaimed Maduro winner of the July 28th presidential election, although it has yet to produce tallies proving he'd won what they say was 51% of the vote. He earlier criticized platform owner Elon Musk on state TV.
Elon Musk is the owner of X and has violated all the rules of the social network Twitter itself, today known as X. He has violated the rules by inciting hatred, fascism, civil war, death, confrontation of Venezuelans, and has violated all Venezuelan laws.
Get up! Get up, Elon Musk! Get up!
The quarrel between Maduro and Musk has grown since the vote. Maduro blames the owner of X for being the driving force behind post-election protests and dissent, while Musk has compared the Venezuelan president to a donkey, and both of them have offered and accepted challenges to fight each other in comments on X and on Venezuelan state television. The ban is another big swipe at big tech from Maduro this week, after he urged supporters to ditch WhatsApp in favor of Telegram or WeChat. He claimed WhatsApp was being used to threaten the families of soldiers and police officers. Meanwhile, on Thursday, foreign ministers of Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia repeated their calls for Venezuela's electoral body to release polling records for last month's disputed election. The US, Argentina, and Chile have refused to recognize Maduro's claimed victory.
And hundreds of people protested in Bangladesh's capital against violence targeting minority Hindus in the country after the downfall of the Sheikh Hasina government. Protesters carrying posters chanted slogans, appealed for peace, and called for safety in Bangladeshi minorities. A school teacher was killed, at least 45 people injured, as homes, businesses, and temples of Hindus were targeted following Hasina's resignation on Monday.
পতন হলো তারপরে আমাদের আনন্দ মিছিল করার কথা ছিল তাই নয় কি তাহলে কেন আমরা এখানে আজকে বিক্ষোভ মিছিল করতে এসেছি 2024 সালে স্বাধীনতা সবার এখানে স্বাধীন হওয়ার পরে কি হারে হিন্দু সমাজের মানুষদের উপর অত্যাচার হামলা লুটপাট অগ্নিসংযোগ এগুলো করা হলো এর বিচার চাই এগুলো কেন করা হলো স্বাধীনতা সবার না এই দেশের আমরা নাগরিক না
আবার অপরপক্ষ যারা বর্তমান থেকে স্টেপ ডাউন হয়েছে ক্ষমতা থেকে চলে গেছে তারা চাচ্ছে হয়তো আমাদের দেশের ইমেজ একটু খারাপ করার জন্য অথবা এখন যে সরকার আসতেছে তাদের ইমেজ খারাপের জন্য তারা হয়তো বা চাচ্ছে যেহেতু চলে যাচ্ছে আমরা মেরে যাই হ্যাঁ এটাও হতে পারে আমি এক্স্যাক্টলি বলতে পারবো না যে কে হয়েছে যখন
Thousands of Bangladeshi Hindus have been trying to flee to neighboring India to escape the violence. According to India's border security force, Hindus trying to flee the country gathered at different points along India's border with Bangladesh. With the state's Jalpaiguri district, more than 600 Bangladeshis gathered in no man's land. Hindus make up about 8% of Bangladesh's population of 170 million, who are concentrated in the north and southwest of the country and have traditionally supported Hasina's Awami League party. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi appealed for the safety and protection of Hindus and Bangladesh's other minorities in a message on X on Thursday. However, after returning to Bangladesh to head an interim government, Mohammad Yunus said attacks on minorities could have been part of a conspiracy and ensured that all citizens will be protected by the caretaker government. Opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party's Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, in an exclusive interview with WION, also condemned the attack on Hindu minorities.
When there is no government, there were 3 days, there was no government. And you know the police force, they have totally left the Dhaka city. So now they're coming back. The government has again established. The police forces are coming back. Things are all getting better every moment. But there is no question of targeting the Hindus only. Is the wrong idea? Yes, some cases of attacking the houses Awami Leaguers that happened, but it is brought under control now.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar arrived in Maldives for a 3-day visit on Friday. The visit comes at a crucial juncture as both countries have seen a drastic fall in the relationship after pro-China Mohammad Muizzu came to power about 9 months ago. Mohammad Muizzu, after coming to power, had protested the presence of Indian military personnel in Maldives. The ties were further strained after some junior ministers from Muizzu's cabinet made derogatory remarks about Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Jaishankar's high-level visit, however, is being seen as a healing touch to mend ties between the two countries. Back in June, Maldives President Mohammad Muizzu had also attended the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Announcing the visit, External Affairs Ministry termed Maldives as a key maritime partner in India's neighbourhood first policy. The statement said that the visit was aimed at strengthening the close partnership between the two countries and would explore opportunities to further enhance their bilateral relationship. India so far has witnessed several of its neighbouring countries fall prey to economic and political turmoil. The latest ouster of Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh is also being seen as a major setback for India's foreign policy. And with that, we call to wrap on this edition of World DNA. News and updates continue on the other side on WION. World is One. Stay tuned.
Anger, protests, death and curfews since Nigerians nationwide rallied for the first of the 10 planned days of rage over a deepening cost of living crisis. President Bola Tinubu appeals for protests to end after bloodshed. Kenya introduces slam dams to various regions in efforts to protect communities from floods. And meet wild, charming, smart courage, a male catwalk coach who is changing the stereotypes about fashion. Wild of Africa at these times on WION. Wild is One.
This week on Inside South Asia, public fury wins and Sheikh Hasina flees. What's next for Bangladesh and how does this impact India? Years after abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir, what are the changes and challenges? Amendments to India's Waqf Act.
जिनको हक नहीं मिला है, उनको हक देने के लिए ये बिल लाया गया है.
Will the age-old paradigms find acceptance? All this and much more on Inside South Asia.
Join Wings this weekend, where we soar through time and history as India gears up for Independence Day. Uncover historic places across India that resonate with the spirit of freedom. From the grandeur of India's past to the vibrant celebrations in Nepal, check out the colorful Rato Machindranath Chariot Festival. Don't miss the journey looking for cultural festivals across the globe, from Central Asia to South America. And the latest stories from the tourism sector in China. Only on WION. World is One.
As Paris Olympics 2024 is currently underway, we look at some must-watch movies based on the event.
What are you doing watching this video? Why aren't you at my show?
Meet Indian comedian and actor Sumukhi Suresh and learn some lesser-known facts about birthday boy Chris Hemsworth. All this and much more with me, Isha Hanspal, at these times, only on WION E Club.
Massive turning point in the West Asia conflict. Israel opens Iran war front. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh killed in Tehran, a targeted attack during a visit to Iran for the new president's inauguration. Nearly 2,000 kilometers away in Beirut, Israel kills a top Hezbollah commander in a targeted strike. West Asia on the boil, war clouds darken, and the threat of a wider conflict grows bigger than ever.
This week on the West Asia Post, Hamas has a new chief, Yahya Sinwar. Will Sinwar help bring a ceasefire in Gaza? The Israeli forces are on high alert. Will Iran follow through on its threat to avenge the death of Ismail Haniyeh at a time and place of its choosing? Also on the show, Israeli media footage shows abuse of Palestinian prisoners. Rockets hit Iraq's air base housing US soldiers. Watch the West Asia Post with me, Radi Francis, only on WION, World is One.
Everyone loves a contest. But sport isn't just about victory and defeat. When the GOATs in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I should push myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
Welcome back. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Jyotsna Kumar. Let's start with the headlines first. Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris tells group of protesters at Arizona rally that now is the time to get a ceasefire deal and get the hostage deal done. Underlines her commitment to a ceasefire in Gaza and to getting the hostages home. Assessment by U.S. intelligence agency finds Iran is pursuing research that has put it in better position to launch nuclear weapons program. Washington to provide Israel $3.5 billion to spend on U.S. weapons and military equipment, says State Department. Funds to be released in coming months. Iran's Revolutionary Guard's deputy commander says set to carry out order by Supreme Leader Khamenei to harshly punish Israel over Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh's assassination. Amid heightened Ukrainian offensive, Russia introduces anti-terrorism measures in Kursk, Belgorod and Bryansk regions bordering Ukraine. Plane crash in Brazil, Sao Paulo state kills all 61 people on board. Vopas twin-engine turboprop plane was flying from southern state of Paraná to Sao Paulo city when it came down into the town of Vinhedo. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense claims it detected 28 Chinese military aircraft and 10 naval vessels, and 22 of the aircraft entered its air defense identification zone from Friday morning to Saturday morning. Tension at West Bengal's India-Bangladesh border after panicked Bangladeshi nationals numbering nearly 1,000 assemble on other side of the fence in their bid to cross over to India and seek refuge. India's cricketing legend Sachin Tendulkar pens heartfelt message for wrestler Vinesh Fogart after